have an off already by me. We have an off already by me.
Was from the front row. We had William Heslop and Mark Robinson together, and it was Heslop that led the way through the opening corners and does so after a lap and a half of racing. He had a 1.8 second advantage by the end of the first lap, and now he's trying to extend that even further. So we're just seeing here Lee Bowron, car number 62. Lee currently running in 10th position as he chases down Alec Townley, one of our newcomers in Class D. They head up over the crest of Hilltop, and Barron's got a slightly better exit. There are the leaders, Heslop from Robinson, then from Greg Spate, who leads Class A, then Justin Roberts from Sam Beckett, Chris Rowlands, he's just ahead of Tony Mumford, the ex-pickup racing racer. Then we've got Lee Bowron and Alec Townley in the mix now, and they too are scrapping. So Bowron has got past Townley. That's the move stuck for 9th position. You see Jason Hennifer in 11th place, 12th place for Paul McHugh, and as for looks like Chris Jones is back in 17th, so not a good start for him in the opening couple of laps here, and he's trying to pick his way back through the order as much as possible. So they wind their way through the top of Clay Hill towards Druids, and here is some developing scraps here between the Class D Fiesta ST 150s. This battle developing here is Bowron catching up to the tail of both Tony Mumford and the white and blue car. Just ahead of him the red and white machine with the gold striping like the Gold Lead Lotus Formula 1 cars. So now they're going to end up in 2. It's Heslop now in the lead by 1.2 seconds because Robertson puts in the fastest lap of the race. He's a flying lap. He's actually put by 0.6 of a second. There is the top two heading down Cascades at the bottom of the hill, down the avenue. There was space in 3rd position. Here's the scrap for 4th between Justin Roberts and the blue and white car with RJ Day plastered on the side. And then the silver car with the black and yellow flashes, that is Sam Beckett. He's having a brilliant first weekend. I think he's the top new driver in the field in this race. And he's giving Justin Roberts, who is a very experienced hand in the XR Challenge, definitely giving him a good run for his money. Speaking of runs, good run here for Lee Bowron as he makes his way past Tony Mumford. His next target is going to be getting past Chris Rowlands. That will now put Lee into 7th position. He's chasing up after 6th. So he really is making up quite a lot of ground here. He heads through, and he's one of a number of drivers who've been in the championship for a while, but they've switched across to the Class D STs for the first time, and they're certainly loving life in there. And Lee's, as he holds on. So STs ablaze as they head down into Hislop's and then Knickerbrook. There is Roberts, followed by Beckett as they turn their way through the right-hander at Knickerbrook. There is Greg Spate in the black and red Class A XR2. Doing a fantastic job in 3rd place, and it was the case last year when there were more Class A cars in the field, that the likes of William Heslop is in the mix. And here's some more XR2s in here. They're having a great battle here. I saw Darren Watson was in there, and that was a battle that was going on between towards the back. I think it was Poole in the mix as well as Watson, Spencer and Rudge. They were all at it towards the back of the field. Down into the right-hander at Lodge. And then up towards out of Deer Leap and over the crest towards Old Hall Corner to end another lap. So Heslop leads the way now by 1.5 seconds. He stills the fastest lap back again. 2 minutes 7.810. 2 tenths quicker than Robinson. We stay on this battle here between Roberts and Beckett. This is for the final podium spot in Class D. It won't be a podium spot overall unless they can start to close in on and catch Greg Spade, who currently heads Class A at a canter. He's far and away the quickest car on the field in that class. You'd have to say, given his performances last time, he will certainly be a favourite. There is Greg. Long-time runner in the championship. With a different sponsor last year, but he's with a new one this year. He's been able to change the livery accordingly. The base car's still black, but the accents around the bumpers and the wheel arches is from green to red this time. This battle continues to hot up between Roberts and Beckett as they shoot out of shot. As for 6th position, Lee Barron has got past Chris Rowland, so that's another place picked off. Look at his lap times as we focus on Tony Mumford. Lee Barron's last lap was a 2 minute 10.029. He's lapping on the same pace, roughly, as the 2 cars in front. So his last lap was a 2 minutes 11, so he's going to try and use the clear air. Just saw Paul Green there, and the green-coloured XR2 is pulled off to the side, so sadly he is out of the race. As the leaders make their way down the hill, this is a scrap for, looks like that is 9th place between Alec Townley in his ST and the leading Class B car, of which there are only 2. Jason Hennifer's in one of them, and he's got for company just behind him. That is Lewis Barron in the silver ST with the black bonnet. Over the crest, under the bridge at Clay Hill, and you can see the circuit has considerably dried up a lot more than it had been earlier on. There are still some damp patches out there. It's better conditions than they found in the race earlier on. And I suspect that maybe it was a setup change that has given Heslop a bit more of an advantage. And that advantage was clear for a moment because he had the fastest lap of the race of a 2 minutes 7.5, going to be bettered by Robinson. As we continue to focus on this battle now for 9th, 10th and 11th. So it's actually Paul McHugh, forgive me. Paul McHugh in the silver car behind. And he's now possibly going to get himself into the top 10. There's Lee Barron, followed by Chris Rowlands, then Tony Mumford. So he's driven all sorts of different race cars, but he finds himself in one of the Fiesta STs currently here in 2020. And there's Paul McHugh, doing double duty today because he's also competing in the Civic Cup, so we've got a double dose of front-wheel drive racing action. Down the avenue, over the crest and into Cascades once again. It's good to see in the right hands that some of the older cars can certainly keep up with the more contemporary machinery. It's a brilliant thing to see that the STs have reinvigorated the championship very much. It's good to see that over half the grid has got these ST150s in place. But if you're quick enough, one of these older cars like the XR3 Escorts or the XR2 Fiestas can definitely do the trick if driven properly. Tony Mumford turns his way out the shell oils. He's falling away from Chris Rowlands and into the clutches of this 3-way scrap for 9th place, with Alec Townley now certainly getting a blaze of glory in terms of being thrown in at the deep end, because he's really being put under pressure by the last year's Class B champion, if I've got my stats correct. And he's showcasing that now because he's starting to draw alongside. Is he going to go a little deeper on the brakes? I think arguably the Fiesta will have slightly better brakes heading into Hislops. Proves to be the case on this occasion. It's not long to go. There's only 3.5 minutes left until we get to the end of this race. Over through Clay Hill towards the end of the race. There's about 3 minutes to go now in this second race. Still Heslop from Robinson, but the gap has come down to less than a second. It's less than 6 tenths now. New fastest lap from Robinson. He took 7 tenths out of Heslop that last time by. And Spate, meanwhile, let's look at him. Well, he did a 2 minute 10.1 last time by, but Roberts and co are definitely lapping faster in the 2 minutes 9. So that three-way battle for fourth place is certainly closing into what could become a four-way scrap for third. And now as they turn through Island Bend and into Shell Oils, should be quite key. Leaders turning out of Britain's over the crest. I think that's Paul Green watching to the left-hand side, getting a great view of this battle. Now, Mark Robinson would love to make this 2 out of 2, but Heslop, who is the defending champion both in Class A and overall, would love to pick up his first ST victory, but he's going to have to do it by defending from the Race 1 winner. And I suspect that the setup that he's got underneath it possibly seems as though that maybe Heslop's car struggles in the second half of the race, because we saw this in Race 1. Despite the spin that he had in Race 1 in the less than ideal conditions, Robinson's car was quicker in the second part of the race, and maybe that might come together. They'll come into view any second now, and Heslop has got Robinson all over his tail as he comes into Druids Corner. They've got just one more lap to go when they cross the line. My timing screen says about 1 minute 20 to go, so this will be quite intriguing. I've been quite intrigued to see what the battle of the third is looking like, because I suspect that Spate may well have been caught pretty quickly, particularly on this lap. They come over dearly to start the last lap of the race, of this second of 2 races here for the Hyperdrive STXR Challenge. Last lap board goes out, and both drivers get the encouragement from the pit wall. Come on, go after it. Turning into Oulton Corner, Heslop has the advantage. Robinson in second place, slightly wider on the exit. Last lap board goes out, and down the hill towards Cascades, and Robinson is really looking in attack mode here. He's got the headlights on, he's closing it under braking. There's a real sense that he might go for a last gasp move here on this final lap of the second race of the weekend. The run towards Island Bend, still nose to tail. Heslop has got enough grip in him just at the moment in those Yokohama tyres to keep Robinson at bay, but can he do it for the remainder of the lap? Into Shell Oils. Through the banked 180, fire it out the other side and grab another gear, and still Heslop has the advantage. Back towards Britain's, under brakes. Robinson still keeping close, they hop over the curbs, left, right, then left again, rocking the suspension as they head up towards Hilltop. Robinson will have a small toe. Is there a chance here that he might possibly try and close in? He's pretty strong in the second half of the lap, he closes back in under braking. Turns right, left, still Heslop has the run. There's someone's bumper there on the right-hand side at the edge of the track, but isn't really affecting anyone on the racing line. Robinson keeping up the pursuit, but defending champion Heslop showing why he is just that, the 2019 champion. And he's absorbing all of this pressure with only just 2 or 3 corners to go. Out of Clay Hill towards Druids. Is Robinson going to think of how to move into Lodge? Well, he's not going to do it here with 2 corners to go. Heslop has got a good run here as he exits Druids underneath the bridge and towards Lodge. There's only one more chance to go here. Heslop takes the line, he thinks he's comfortable, up through Lodge Corner and up towards D Elite for the final time. Robinson has pressed him for the entire race, but it's going to be a win, first win of the season, and a first win in the new ST for William Heslop. The defending champion picks up P1 in race 2 of the Hyperdrive STXR Challenge. It's second place for Mark Robinson. The finishing margin, 0.361 of a second. And Robinson actually set the fastest lap of the race with a 2 minute 6.852 on one of the previous laps. For third place and Class A victory, it is Greg Spate, followed by Sam Beckett, who did pass Justin Roberts in the closing stages. Sixth place and a great drive through the field in the opening laps from Lee Barron. He picks up a good finish as his just rewards. Next up should be 7th place for Chris Rowlands in the red and white car. He's followed home by Tony Mumford, so Mumford managed to close in towards the end. Then we've got a change, I think, for 9th, 10th, 11th, because Townley is 9th, but it's Paul McHugh who gets past Class B winner Jason Hennifer. And then we've got Matt Spencer. He's been a little quiet today, the reigning Class D champion, but he might have a little more competition this year. Through goes Chris Jones with a little bit less bodywork on the front bumper. There is your race winner, William Heslop. Picks up where he left off. 2019 champion last year. Now he's hoping to not only go for the Class D title, he would love to pick up a second title in a row. He's also a Porsche racer as well, but I think given his success in this championship, he might possibly favour Fords a bit more after this one. Across the line goes Darren Watson, with half the door open. Either he's warm or he's going to wave to the marshals, but he firmly slams it shut. A few more of our Class A XR2s across the line. The only car that we don't have finishing appears to be Steve Poole. There goes Adam Bissell. Brilliant looking car for Adam Bissell. Good to see him in the mix. And Michael Rudge, it's his debut in the championship. Good to see him on the grid. He was able to get to the finish in both races, and that's the key thing. Everyone's got to start somewhere. He managed to make it happen. So an exciting first weekend for the Hyperdrive STXR Challenge, and in the end, it all comes down to a split of victories between Mark Robinson and William Heslop. But here's quickly a run through the top 8 of race number 2. So after that 10-second penalty, it's Mark Robinson then who picks up the win in the results. And he finishes ahead of the man who won on the road before the time penalty, William Heslop. Greg Spate, he gets 3rd place and wins Class A. Sam Beckett 4th, Justin Roberts 5th, then Lee Barron, Chris Rowlands and Tony Mumford.